Welcome back. Round 5. Instant reaction here. We're just going through day 3, all the big news in round 5. Anything happened in round 5, Sam? Anything important? We were recapping round 4. We were on the air live, just trying to innocently talk about round 4, and round 5 comes in, swoops in, steals all the breaking news. It was Shadur Sanders going to the Browns. That was part of round 5. We already discussed it, but probably worth at least touching at the top here. Shadur Sanders to the Browns in round 5.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we kind of we covered that elsewhere. We went in depth with our instant reaction to Shadur Sanders. I still think it's a great move, right? With the video since surfaced of the entire Browns war room, not looking exactly thrilled by it, including, by the way, Jimmy Haslam is in that video. So it's not like Jimmy Haslam's like, let's go.
Really quick. I can't believe I did it. I retweeted Warren Sharp. That was Warren Sharp doing that. Warren Sharp's not exactly the most forthcoming with his videos. He creates narrative stuff. And I bit. And somebody stepped in and said, they've been doing that for every pick. So it's my fault. It's my own fault. I got clickbaity. What's the baseline? What's the baseline celebration for the Browns versus the Shadur celebration? We got to compare it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just a reserve war room, right? But I still think it's great. It's a great move for them, right? It's a low risk gamble that has huge potential payoff. They now have 2 pretty good rolls of the dice at quarterback, and they're positioned with multiple first rounders next year for what is, let's be honest, the more likely thing to happen, which is neither of these quarterbacks works out particularly well. It buys them time. They go get the real future next year. I think it's a great outcome for the Browns. And for Shadur, look, it's really the one place left, other than, I guess, Pittsburgh, where he actually has a pathway to winning the starting job still, right? The 5th round, everybody else has him as a true backup quarterback, dead and buried, non-factor. The Browns, he can start if he shows them he's worth doing that. He still has a pathway.
We're not spending all our time on Shadur Sanders. We did do it elsewhere. It's under the video section right now on the Check the Mic channel if you do want to catch up on some Shadur discussion. So let's go through our favorite picks. I'll let you go first. Favorite picks or most intriguing picks here in round 5 for you, Sam?
I really like Torrey Horton to the Seattle Seahawks. Number one, I've liked Torrey Horton as a wide receiver prospect basically since I've seen him, and that dates back a year. I think if he'd come out last year, he would have been a day 2 draft pick. He ends up staying in school, getting hurt, missing a big chunk of the season with a knee injury. Now he's come back. He's pretty healthy. At 6'3", he's at least a 4.4 speed guy. Was apparently more of a 4.3 guy. Ended up hitting 4.4 at the combine, coming back off that knee injury. But he's long, he's rangy, he's got good speed, he's got good route running. Reminds me a little bit of a sort of slightly less polished version of Devontae Smith. Bit heavier, bit taller, but same sort of style of wide receiver. And I think he can fit in the area in that Seattle receiving core where they don't necessarily have the right body. They've got JSN, they've got Cooper Kupp, they've been adding some people, but I think there's a future there for Torrey Horton on that team.
Yeah, when we're talking 5th round picks, we got to be realistic here. They're not stepping in and starting for the most part. Who's the next Puka Nacua? Well, it could be Torrey Horton. There's not a Puka Nacua every year. There's not a Brock Purdy every year. But if you're looking for players with a path to at least opportunity, Torrey Horton has a legitimate path to opportunity with JSN, Cooper Kupp, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, competing with Jake Bobo maybe for some wide receiver 4 snaps. And so, yeah, I like that. I like that pick quite a bit for Seattle. I had my other picks that I liked here. Who do we have? I had someone. You were going to mention Braden Swinson. I won't take him from you. Oh, Jordan James to the 49ers. He was my running back 9, I believe, when we did the running back rankings. It was just it was really a Fields move, a real Fields move for me to put him that high as a running back. I just thought he was a super smooth runner, and I cannot think of a better place to put a super smooth zone runner than with Kyle Shanahan. So I think Kyle's going to do it again. And when and if Jordan James needs to get out there and replace maybe Jordan Mason and his backup or running back 3 type of snaps, I think Jordan James from Oregon can do that. So I like James as a player. And obviously, anytime you put any running back in Kyle's system in San Francisco, they have a chance to have success.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you play a running back that you quite like, just in abstract terms, with Kyle Shanahan, it's got to make you a little bit more excited about him. So yeah, I definitely understand why you would have Jordan James ranked there. Braden Swinson, I think, though, for me, really is fantastic value. Like, I honestly like that guy as an early day 2 pick, and maybe even somebody that could have snuck into the first round. I think a lot of other people did as well. I saw a lot of smart football analysts, pulling up Braden Swinson's tape and being like, this dude's really good. He's polished. He's a good technician. He's a good athlete. He's really got kind of the complete package as an edge rusher. The Patriots getting him in the fifth round, genuinely, that guy could make a significant impact as a rookie, could be a real part of this team. I mean, I honestly think that's one of the steals of the draft. I think that's phenomenal value in the fifth.
New England has added contributors everywhere. Now, this happens every year too, Sam. You look at the draft and you're like, I see a path to this guy playing. And it's, because the roster's terrible. So, Swinson has a chance to immediately be part of the defensive line rotation. Joshua Farmer, their 4th-round pick, defensive line rotation, in addition to all the offensive players that they got at the top. So, New England doing a lot there and adding people to contribute. We had some Chargers questions, and I want to answer them to the Chargers fans. That was first comment in. People asking for some Chargers analysis. They were asking in round 4. I'm going to combine it. Round 4 was Kyle Kennard. We didn't get around to him. He's intriguing because he was the sack leader in the SEC at least halfway through the season. I don't know what he ended up as. I don't look at sack totals, but it was impressive sack totals. He was doing a really nice job at South Carolina. 1-year breakout. He'll compete for edge snaps, which they just need bodies there, and I think he's a good mid-round option there. But the 2 5th-rounders, because the Chargers have not gone playmaker high here in this draft. I mean, they did Trey Harris high, but over last year they added 3 wide receivers, including McConkey. What a mix of receivers they've added over the last couple of years now. McConkey, Trey Harris, Jerry Rice's kid, but now Keandre Lambert-Smith and Oronde Gadsden the second. Lambert-Smith, big body, speedster, right? We mentioned there's like 10 receivers who ran sub 4.4. He's one of them, and he's on the bigger side. The other guys are, 180 pounds, 170 pounds. So Lambert-Smith, he's going to compete as your, deep threat. And then Oronde Gadsden, tight end in name, former receiver from Syracuse, pretty good ball skills, like 220, 225, just weird body in that hybrid wide receiver tight end role. Don't know how much he's going to run block, but again, middle of the field type of pass game option. So they're throwing a lot at the pass game here for the Chargers, a lot to see what sticks. Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, I think have the best path. Quentin Johnston in there, but Lambert-Smith and Gadsden have a chance to play a role there.
No, agreed. That's a nice little collection they've got brewing there. The next name I wanted to bring up is Jackson Hawes going to the Buffalo Bills. Jackson Hawes, I think, is the best blocking tight end in this draft. Like, that dude, you and I have both come through the PFF system. We've both spent an inordinate amount of time grading games, grading blocks at a granular level, and started it early enough that we can remember when tight ends used to block and used to crush people and used to be, auxiliary offensive linemen. And so much of that has gone by the wayside. Jackson Hawes is like a throwback to those days, right? And okay, the Buffalo Bills already have a ton of tight ends, but who knows how long that collection is going to be intact the way that team is constructed. But you watch Hawes three seasons, I think, at Yale, and then a season at Georgia Tech, and just the same thing every year. Every year that guy is a really impressive blocking tight end, wants to do it, loves it, like is invested in it. I think there's a space for him on pretty much any roster in the NFL as a blocking tight end. Obviously, the ceiling to that type of player is limited, but it's just a fun specialist to pick up, midway through day 3.
So further Bill's question here about them loading up on cornerbacks. Now, Jordan Hancock is more of a nickel type of corner, but they did get Maxwell Hairston in the 1st, Dorian Strong in the 6th. And then they got 3 defensive linemen. And as I was raving about in the round 4 video, they're about 12 deep on the defensive line. I don't know if I've ever really seen anything like it as far as depth goes on the defensive line with guys that should be a part of a rotation. So what are the Bills doing? To me, it's a difficult decision sometimes to decide where you're going to attack with depth. But I know where I want depth on my team. I want it on the offensive line, the defensive line. I want it at receiver, and I want it at cornerback. Those are the 4 positions. They're the 4 most valuable position groups besides quarterback. And if you're going to overinvest, it's those positions. Now, you can't do it all at the same time. You can't do that. But defensive line depth, for various reasons, there's a rotation, injuries, and like if you hit on one of those guys, unbelievable value. But cornerback, similar. If you're trying to play matchups week to week, schematically, you can do that. Depth-wise, I think the Bills are saying they have starters, man. They had no open starting spots on their roster coming into this draft. You could say cornerback 2, opposite Christian Benford. You tick that box in round 1. Maxwell Hairston's probably going to start there. And now they are attacking cornerback with depth, and they're attacking the defensive line with depth. 2 places where, yeah, you want to be really deep. And what's happened the last couple of years? Why did the Bills lose to the Chiefs in 2023? Because they had 4 backups out there, and they couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in a bad offensive year for the Chiefs. And last year, similar, right? They had some defensive issues against the Ravens. If they weren't forcing turnovers against the Ravens, they're losing that game in the divisional round. So they're loading up on defense, loading up on depth, and they're saying, we're not doing this injury thing again. If we get hurt, we're going to have some backups developed at these key spots. So that's what I'm seeing from the Bills. And they're able to do this because they're already pretty good at receiver. They have 5 starters on the offensive line. They're pretty good in a lot of spots on offense, and they're loading up on defensive depth. And I really like what Buffalo's doing.
Yeah, I think they're having a good draft. Dorian Strong's a fun corner to add to that team. Virginia Tech, he's 6'1", 185 pounds. So he's tall, but he's got relatively short arms. He's not like tall and long. But his thing is he posted an absolutely off the charts, ridiculous 6.56 3-cone time. That's a mind-blowingly fast number. His short shuttle was 4.08, so that was pretty quick as well. His 40 time is like 4.5, so he's not a blazer, but he's pretty tall. He's got, I think, reasonably good skills. You can see he can play man coverage. You can play some zone. Sometimes gets caught playing like too much man, as in face guarding effectively, like not playing the ball, but playing the receiver. And you can't really do that at the NFL level because there's too many either slightly inaccurate passes or deliberately inaccurate passes where the wide receiver will adjust and you won't, and you'll end up getting flagged or made to look ridiculous. He does that a little bit too much, but there's a place for him, certainly on an NFL roster with those skills.
Sorry, I went on a little rant that I should save for the Bills recap and what they're doing. Any other 5th-round picks that you wanted to highlight here, Sam?
No, that's probably, I think we're into the 6th before I get more picks that I really liked.
I have one more. Elijah Roberts from the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, 2 straight. They just keep picking the best football player on the board. And here's what it feels like, right? How many times have we said, hey, this guy, Jordan Birch, Shamar Stewart, this guy doesn't have a ton of production, but he's really athletic. And if he figures these things out, he'll get there. We say that a lot during the draft. Same thing with a corner. This guy ran a 4.3. He's got some issues, but this and that. Can you say that about any Bucks pick other than, say, Benjamin Morrison's injury concerns? There's no pick over the last 2 years, by the way, where you're like, man, this guy's just a projectable, high ceiling guy, but maybe doesn't have the production. I'm going back to last year, man, when they went Graham Barton, Chris Braswell, Jalen McMillan, Bucky Irving with their first 4 picks, and then they do it now. Emeka Egbuka, Benjamin Morrison, Jacob Parrish, Elijah Roberts in there. I think I missed a pick, probably David Walker as well. It's just a whole bunch of good football players by the Bucks, and Roberts is a big 290-pound, played on the edge for SMU, power type of player. Add him and David Walker to that edge rotation. I just like so much of what the Bucks are doing because it's not flashy. Not once have we said upside projection player. Every single player is good football player who could step in and have a role for the Bucks. That's 9 in the first 4 rounds over the last 2 years that I think have just been good, solid football players.
Yeah, sometimes you can see, the drafting philosophy for teams. You can see what they covet, what type of player they're looking for, what type of skill set they're looking for. It's honestly like the Bucks ask themselves before every pick, what is the single safest pick we can make? Like, who is the safest player we can draft to this spot? And I don't even mean that as a criticism. I mean, it is to a degree. It lacks a certain ambition that other teams, have, but it might be smarter. Like it might actually be the most sensible thing you can do. Let's just take the safest pick we can make at this spot, and the cumulative effect of all those players will be better than the guys that are swinging for the fences, but whiffing on a bunch of picks because those are inherently more risky. It's kind of a fascinating approach.
So we're only in round 5, but do you want to talk about some of the intriguing round 6 quarterbacks who have come off? I don't think we're going to are we doing a round 6 show?
I don't know. We'll see. If there's interesting things that happen in round 6, let's come back for round 6.
Do you want to know the quarterbacks?
We got quarterbacks.
Kyle McCord to the Eagles and Will Howard to the Steelers.
Okay.
Will Howard to Pittsburgh.
Not to Chip Kelly. That's a bit disappointing.
I know. I thought maybe he'd go to the Raiders. But Will Howard, I mean, the Steelers, again, we're assuming Rodgers, but like there's a non-zero chance, as the nerds would say, that Aaron Rodgers retires and that Will Howard, of all the quarterbacks not named Cam Ward, has the best path to the field this year.
I mean, yeah, right now he's like QB1 on the depth chart, right?
Yeah. Of all the QBs, Will Howard might have the path. Now he's reigning national champion. Maybe he deserves that. My son Benny had him going number 1 overall.
That's true.
In the mock draft, right? What a slide. Why we're not talking about Will Howard's slide.
All right. Well, I think we've already got enough picks where we could come back for a round 6 recap. So let's do that.
Come back.
Let's bounce now and let's come back.
Round 6. All right, that's our round 5 recap. We'll see you again soon. Check the mic.